So I started by splitting Jones on the fast lane into two categories. One of them was work and the other one was education. If you've ever played this game before, you know that these two are the biggest things in the game. So I decided to do 2 playthroughs for each. One for only getting an education, one for never getting an education, one for only working, and one for never working. So let's get started, shall we? So my first one was only working. So I had to buy clothes in the beginning of this game just to keep it going. Once you don't have any clothes anymore, they apparently don't let you work. And I didn't pay rent at all, but my landlord garnished my rent. Oh yeah, one interesting thing was that you can actually get past the beginning of this game fairly easy by just working. As long as you get like $2,000, and it's actually really easy getting $2,000 if you just work, forget about eating, forget about paying rent or anything, just work. But it is impossible to get past the halfway point while only working. This game only allows you to get further if you have an education and you get your happiness level up. So, yeah. So, on to the next playthrough, never working. Well, I found through that this actually works pretty well. I thought this game was built so you had to work, but you don't actually really need to. You can go to class naked, so you don't need to buy clothes at all. And, whatever you save up, whatever money you have, well, I used it to get education, because that's what you do in the game. But what I didn't know was that if you get poor enough and if you don't have any clothes, your relatives feel sorry for you and they send you money, which I thought was so weird. Oh well. I guess they have a fallback for if you don't have any money, you don't have any clothes, and they won't let you work. So in this playthrough, I found out that you can actually muster enough money to actually finish your education, but the game won't let you win because you'll only get 53% completion, and you'll be living in a cruddy apartment for the rest of your life. Even when you're this smart, they don't let you get good jobs because you don't have any work history. So the next playthrough was only get an education. So this one was almost like the last one because all I did was get an education. And you can get an education without clothes, which is awesome. I finished school without clothes, and I mostly depended on my rich relatives to give me money to enroll in college. And I also found out in this playthrough that any money you have to make enrollments like really quickly, or else you'll use up the money over the weekend. And even if you don't have money, the weekend activities are exactly the same as when you do have money, only you don't use any money over the weekend, which is actually pretty interesting. So in this playthrough, you can't get more than 53% completion, but it is possible to finish school without doing a lick of work. So next playthrough, do not get an education. So this was kind of interesting because you could get more than 63% completion with this route, which is actually quite interesting. You can get enough money to get a security apartment, which is like one of the nicer apartments, and you could get appliances and luxury items like color TVs. However, it does take a little bit of saving up. It took me about 10 minutes to save up to $1,000, which usually only takes me 2 minutes. It took about 10 minutes to save up to $1,000. It took about 10 minutes to save up to $1,000 when it usually takes around 2 minutes. After a certain point, you can't get a higher paying job due to no education. And at this point, you have to wait and keep checking for pay raises instead, which is a really terrible way of getting more money. So yeah, that one was the last one I did. It wasn't that surprising. But in the end, I did find out the biggest things were that you can literally never pay rent. I thought the lady would just kick you out or something, or I don't know. I knew about garnishing wages, but even if you don't have a job, they won't kick you out. I don't know why. And you can go to class naked, which is really interesting. And if you're naked, you'll get money from your relatives who feel sorry for you. So, yeah. I also found out that you can. It's actually quite easy to play the game where you spam working in the first few weeks and then get an education in the second few weeks. You don't even need to pay rent or get food if you like, because honestly those two elements just apparently add to the difficulty of the game. And if you want to finish the game, you only need to work and only need to get an education. So